Hi, this is Tom Sedlak, General Manager at 33rd Company Property Management. Thanks so much for watching our video blog series. Today's topic is tenant eviction, what to do when my Minneapolis tenant stops paying rent. There's an old adage in the property management world, and it's called bad tenancy is not like wine. It generally doesn't get better with age. And that's so true with tenants and residential property management. While rent extensions and offering to help or deferring rent or offering payment plans can work for the incidental oops that happens with a late payment or a missed payment, it's generally a sign, more often than not, that the plug should or could be pulled on that tenancy. Sometimes sweeping the floors and putting in a new tenant is the best way to get your property back online and get that cash flow working in a positive direction. It might cost you a month or two of vacancy to get the property turned, but in the long run it seems always a better solution to find better tenancy and always place better tenants than to limp along with a problematic tenant. One of the things that good property management companies will do to help reduce the effect of an eviction and also to flag earlier delinquencies is to impose an ACH EFT requirement in the lease for rent collection. 33rd Company is quite good at that. In fact, all of our leases require tenants to establish an ACH EFT account, and we direct bill those accounts every month on the 1st for that rent collection. The reason we do that is because with an EFT transaction, you have a 24-hour notice generally for a delinquency instead of getting a check mailed back to you with an NSF, 3 weeks later. The nice thing is that now that you're accelerated, on the 2nd or the 3rd of the month instead of the 15th to the 20th that your rent actually has bounced. And you can follow up that much earlier. Generally, the courts are generally open. The eviction courts are open in the earlier part of the month versus the last part of the month. And you're going to have sooner process service, you're going to have sooner court dates. In short, the entire eviction process is going to be a lot faster, and you'll be able to turn it around, get the home back, and put it back up on the market and get it re-rented. Because every day that you're vacant or you're not collecting rent, you're obviously losing money. Filing at the county court typically is private service, is what a good management company will do because it's faster. Most states have a minimum process service requirement, typically, for instance, in Minnesota, it's 7 days. So you want to exercise that. If you do service through the local sheriff, the court administrator will probably add about 5 to 10 days to make sure that the sheriff has adequate time to provide service. With a private service, you can just ask for the minimum process service and then have it served same day, and again accelerate that eviction process. Court packet. Make sure you've got all your documents and you're ready for court. When you're at the hearing, many states are pay and stay. So you need to meet with the tenant, you need to figure out what their financial issues are, whether they can pay, and if they can pay, typically the courts will allow them to remain in the property and to continue their lease obligations. If not, then the court would impose an eviction. They might provide a stay of an eviction judgment. Typically, if there's minors involved, they'll provide up to, in some states, a maximum stay of 7 days to give the family enough time to vacate the property in an efficient and graceful as possible fashion. But beyond that, there are limitations, statutory limitations, as far as what courts can do in terms of delaying a judgment. And then if the tenants fail to vacate after that stay, then you're going to need to get a writ of recovery to take to the sheriff. And basically a writ of recovery is the court order to the sheriff to go over and physically vacate the tenants and then return possession of the home back to the landlord. And that's what really an eviction is all about. It's called an unlawful detainer, and eviction courts are all about possession, not necessarily about judgments. If you're missing any rents or there's damages, you're going to separately have to take that up in a conciliation action against that same tenant, and that can be several months out in terms of scheduling in order to process a conciliation action. Once the writ of recovery is issued to the sheriff will go to the home, post a 24-hour notice to vacate. If they're not out within 24 hours, you call the sheriff back, and they will literally knock on the door, look at their watch, and tell the tenants you have 5 minutes to vacate, and you need to take all of your possessions, your valuables, and typically they're going to get a very short amount of time to physically vacate the home, at which point the sheriff will also help you inventory any remaining property in the home. You need to make sure that you store it properly per state statute and give the tenant an opportunity to recover that property. Typically what we would do is have it moved into the garage, clean the house, get it ready to show and rent, and then give the tenant an opportunity to reclaim those items in the garage or on an off-site storage, so that it doesn't impair your ability to re-rent the home and get it producing income again. Once you get it cleaned up and get it re-rented, this is the time to mop up all your documentation, invoices, other costs, and file a conciliation action, and then recover what you can. And then move on to a better tenant. Again, that's always the best plan when there's a persistent delinquency that you just are not going to recover from. It's better to just move on and find someone that will be more responsible stewards of the home, or maybe is financially better able to accommodate the rents for that particular home. Hope this is helpful information. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or concerns about residential property management, you're always welcome to call 33rd Company Property Management. We'd be happy to help. Thank you.